Today, we're ranking the top 12 motorcycle brands, best to worst, and I have all of those answers right here. So the way we ranked everything and the answers we got to, it's a combination of consumer reports, reviews, recalls, problems reported. So we're using a few different resources just to rank these the most accurate way possible. So this is gonna be super fun and full of surprises. Or if you've owned motorcycles from all of these brands, maybe there will be zero surprises in store for you. And this is gonna be the top 12 brands available in the US. The top 12 selling brands could be different in other markets. So as we go over all these brands and where they stack up, I'll give you a little history on the brand and any personal experience I may have with them. So without further ado, let's rip into it. My name's Michael, welcome to the channel. All right, so bringing up the rear in dead last, our 12th slot is gonna be occupied by Aprilia, the Italian motorcycle manufacturer. So Aprilia was established in 1945, so they've been around a while. We've kind of seen a diverse lineup over the years from Aprilia. Definitely some beautiful cycles have been made, stuff that's really fast, that has just a beautiful sound to it. You know, I feel like Aprilia currently right now is really known for a couple of their sport bikes, you know, the RSV4, the 660, fantastic looking and riding cycles. But clearly, they have proven themselves to be a little bit of a headache. You know, they've struggled with quality, with reliability, with availability of parts. You know, anytime you go to a smaller motorcycle manufacturer, typically, the quality is less, the price of parts is more, the availability is more scarce. Those are things that seem to just go along with smaller production brands. So while they might not be reliable, Aprilia definitely has some cycles that'll raise the hair on your head. Moving on up the line, in the 11th position, we have Royal Enfield. So Royal Enfield has been around since 1901. It started in the UK. You'll see Royal Enfields putting around all different corners of the earth. A lot of the Royal Enfields have this retro charm, kind of a minimalistic adventure styling. Now, I have never owned a Royal Enfield. I've had a few buddies who have, and they all seem to really enjoy their experience of riding one. Now, clearly, there are a few quirks, and more so on some models than others, but the price point of Royal Enfields is not sky high. A lot of their cycles are very affordable, so while they might not be the most reliable motorcycle brand out there, Royal Enfield they blaze their own trail. They have a unique way of making cycles, and it is interesting, and there is some YouTubers who take these things touring across the country. So maybe there is a little bit of charm there, maybe more so than meets the eye. As we power on up the list, slot number 10, 2 from the bottom, is going to be occupied by Indian Motorcycle. Now, Indian Motorcycle kind of has an interesting history. While it was the first motorcycle manufacturer in America, they've kind of had the ups and downs throughout the last century. Currently, Indian is owned by Polaris, a big name in the power sports community. And even in the power sports community, Polaris is not known for being some super reliable brand. They make fine things, and their dealer network is good, so at least it's not too hard to find parts when you need them, and you will need them. But looking at modern day Indian motorcycles, which this report is based on, you know, Indian definitely has some flashy cycles, just absolutely beautiful motorcycles. It's hard to deny that. They put down good power. They do have some fairly luxurious features on some. The story is cool to get behind, and I like the Indian name, the logo. It's a cool idea. But over the last 7 years, Indian has really been plagued with just problems, random quirks, recalls. And the funniest thing about this, I bought a brand new 2024 FTR 1200, and I had to sell it within 1,200 miles. It was just so plagued with random problems and quirks, and that's just not how a new motorcycle should be. You should not buy a new motorcycle and then have to deal with problems out the wazoo. And that was exactly my experience. The problem here is, and why I bought mine, is that all of the problems are not really consistent with Indian. You'll have people who get a new Indian and they are dead in the water within 10 miles, bike won't start, engine light on, it was smoking. And then you'll have other guys who drive their motorcycles 50,000 miles and they said they've never had a problem whatsoever. Now, if we take everybody's word as truth, that just means we have a horrible quality control issue. That one bike can be perfectly fine and the next bike is a total lemon. You're not gonna know if you got a bad Indian until it's too late to go back. So that sucks. Sales are down, more problems than ever. I feel like we're gonna see Indian motorcycle disappear within 5 years. You know, I don't like to see motorcycle brands go under, but I think it's inevitable. Now, getting into the single-digit rankings. At number 9, we have another Italian contender, the Ducati. The Italian Stallions, the Red Rockets. Now, Ducatis are cool. I feel like almost the whole world, we're all in agreement when you think of premium, top-tier, elegant motorcycles. Ducati is the name that comes to mind. I mean, I've even got one sitting right there. Now, Ducati was established in 1926, so they've been around about a century. Ducati has had a diverse lineup, not as diverse as some of the other manufacturers, but some of the naked bikes, you know, the monster lineup, some of their different Supersports over the years, and the current modern day Panigales. Just fantastic cycles. Cycles that put down the power. They just sing. They'll make your eyes water. They are so beautiful. Your wallet could be crying because of the price, depending on what model you get, but they're cool. Getting a Ducati is like getting a Porsche. All eyes are gonna be on you. It's cool. You paid more. You're into the mechanic, the dealership more often than other brands. It's one of those things you're just paying more to play. But they're not as riddled with problems as some of the other ones that we've already gone over on our list. So at least you have that peace of mind. Now, I've ridden the majority of models that Ducati has had in their lineup, we'll say in the last 20 years. And, well, that's been about my exact experience, that they should be in the 9th slot. 2 days ago, as my Ducati was ripping down the road, the turn signal switch just fell off. Flew off, gone like the wind. Like, why? I wasn't doing anything crazy. I just went to signal my turn, and that thing just gone. And I've never had that happen to me on any other motorcycle brand ever. So Ducati, they're cool, they're unique. It's better than some, certainly not the best. All right, moving up to slot number 8. Now this is surprising considering that Ducati was number 9. KTM occupies our number 8 slot. Now this is funny because if you've watched motorcycle news recently, I mean, KTM has kind of been in this financial turmoil. They were going bankrupt, then they said they were okay, then they were bankrupt, but they're still rolling out commercials for new models, and their racing team is trying to do new things. I honestly have no idea what is going on here. KTM, established in 1934, they've been around a minute, and if you know KTM, you know, Husqvarna, GasGas, KTM, they're all kind of the same thing. It's always been very odd to me that they make the same cycles, different brand name, different color, virtually identical. So this is 3 brands lumped into one in the number 8 slot. But KTM has always been known as one of the best contenders in the off-road and dual sport market. You know, you get to these off-road events, the enduro cross, the hare scrambles, some of the Dakar stuff. I mean, some of those events, you get there and look around, it is a sea of orange. Everyone is riding KTMs, and they are good at what they do. I mean, these bikes are light, they boil out the horsepower. I mean, some of the things that I've seen people do on KTM motorcycles, big and small, have blown my mind. So, good cycles, capable cycles, maybe a little less reliable. You know, maintenance intervals are certainly shorter on some models, some years, but they're cool. even though they're not the most reliable, KTM is kind of the king of its class. They have some cycles that really just leave everybody in the dust. Well, and we are just gonna stay in Europe for a while because number 7, we've got Triumph. Motorcycles built for the British gentleman. No, so Triumphs are cool. Triumphs have been around a long time. Triumph was first established as a brand in 1883. They really got a good foothold in 1902, and a funny thing, in 1910, BSA, if you've ever heard of BSA motorcycles. So that's an interesting story. BSA was a group of gunsmiths who got together and started making motorcycles. And in 1910, BSA and Triumph partnered for BSA Triumph Ltd. Now, Triumphs have gone through ups and downs over the last century. I feel like Triumph is in a pretty good spot right now. They've kind of been taking the world by storm over the last 2-3 years. With different models they have made, quality has gone up. You've seen production numbers climbing. And I will say there is a couple Triumph models that I would really love to get my hands on. The Scrambler 400s, that 1200 RR Triple. Triumph is doing good things, and it's been very exciting to watch them over the years. I had an old 1999 Triumph Daytona 955i in pearl orange. And that was an interesting cycle, you know, basically 1,000 triple. Everything was engineered and in a different place than it would have been on a Japanese cycle. The feel, the sound, everything was just unique. And that was about my experience that it should be in about a number 7 slot. Random quirks, no huge problems I ever had. But yeah, like I said, modern day Triumph getting better and better. I would not hesitate for an instant to buy a brand new Triumph. And we are going overseas for the number 6 slot. It's gonna be occupied by Harley-Davidson, the spirit, the soul of America. So Harley-Davidson, holy cow, this is such an interesting brand. I have ridden many different Harley-Davidson models. I have personally owned 0, and there is currently 0 Harley-Davidson models that I could see myself on, that I think I would ever buy. Harley is an interesting brand. I feel like you love them or hate them, but little known fact, Harley is in the top 4 most recognized names of brands across anything. I mean, it's up there with like Coca-Cola. So Harley-Davidson, known all around the world, but yet over 2/3 of sales are just in the US. So not many people outside the US are really digging the Harley vibes. Now, Harley was established in 1903, so 2 years after Indian. Harley has really tried to hit the ground running. You know, and Elvis Presley, there's been different figures over the years, you know, who I feel like have really helped Harley in the success that they've had. But if we look at Harley over the last 20 years, over the last 30 years, 40 years, you know, they're known for V-twin engines, air-cooled V-twin engines. They are heavy as a brick. They have a unique sound to them. They have a unique layout and feel. The engineering of Harleys, when you go to work on a Harley versus, say, a Japanese cycle, a European cycle, it is just totally different. And in my opinion, it's just not the smartest way. Some of the different things they're doing with frames, engines, routing. To me, Harley-Davidson is a little bit stuck in a rut. They've found something that works, and they just keep doing it. You know, as far as advancement in technology, innovation of models, there hasn't been much. There just hasn't been much. You know, they do have the Pan America out now, which the Pan America kind of breaks all the norms for Harley. You know, you have a 1250 liquid-cooled V-twin that boils out the horsepower, is like no other Harley model. So stuff like that is cool. I always like to see brands try new things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you never try, you'll never know. But Harley-Davidson, you know, it's going to be interesting to watch them over the next 5 years, as well as Indian. Sales are down. Stocks are plummeting. Last year, Harley-Davidson only sold 151,000 motorcycles. So to compare that to, say, you know, a Japanese manufacturer like Yamaha, Yamaha sold 33 times more motorcycles. They sold about 5 million. So if that just kind of lets you know how small production Harley is becoming. And unfortunately, the prices are not going down. And Harley has managed to do something that no other motorcycle brand has. Harley just has, it's a lifestyle. When you ride a Harley, you're part of this group, this brotherhood of other Harley riders. You know, they have the events, they have the clothing, they have all the merch and gear. And whether you like it or hate it, that absolutely just demands respect, because no other motorcycle brand has ever been able to do anything like that. All right, let's get back on the plane. We're going back over to Europe for the number 5 slot, and that is going to be occupied by BMW, the German motorcycle manufacturer. So BMW's, I think BMW absolutely deserves this number 5 slot, because BMW, some of their adventure touring motorcycles I have seen with over 100,000 miles on them, and they run perfectly. And they've always run perfectly their entire life with no engine rebuild. I mean, just minimal maintenance, preventative steps. And then BMW, you know, they have the S1000RR, the M1000RR. I mean, and these bikes are crazy. They are fast and flashy and just so cool. Features out the wazoo, stuff that you would have never even imagined or come up with yourself. Modern day BMWs are engineering marvels. I mean, they truly are. Now you get to a European cycle that has all these premium features, that tries to advertise itself as a luxury premium product. Well, yes, the price is going to be higher for anything like that. And it's just like with the other stuff we were saying with Ducati and Aprilia and Triumph, KTM. You know, price is higher, parts availability not quite as good. Some models have more maintenance, some models have quirks. So all of that stuff is still going to be true about BMW, but less so than the other European motorcycle manufacturers. So BMWs are cool cycles. It is hard to argue with that or dispute that. If I had the cash, I'd probably have an S1000RR. We'll see what happens down the road. All right, folks, we're getting to the top 4. This is where it gets nitty and gritty. But if you've been paying attention to the motorcycle brands we've already gone over, you know what the top 4 are. They are all from the same country. It's gonna be Japan. So bringing up our 4th slot here is Suzuki, the Yellow Thunder. So now, just to give you an idea of how much more reliable these top 4 Japanese brands are than the rest. So like here we have Aprilia and then Triumph and Indian. There is such a gap before you get to the top 4 Japanese brands, and then they are just stacked right on top of each other. It's like bang, 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 bang. But Suzuki holds our 4th slot. Suzuki as a company, they make a variety of things. Outside of just motorcycles, they always have. So Suzuki first started as a company in 1909, and that was in the silk and loom production. Suzuki did not start making motorcycles until 1952. Now, in Suzuki's production of motorcycles, we have seen the most diverse lineup of cycles ever. Well, really all the Japanese manufacturers have, but Suzuki certainly has, and even modern day Suzuki is looking at them. I mean, they have some great cruisers, some great sport bikes, touring bikes, adventure bikes, off-road machines. Now you can look at all of the motorcycles across Suzuki's lineup, and we can absolutely say quality, reliability, everything is good. Suzuki has certainly had some standout motorcycles over the years, some of the best cycles the world has ever seen. You know, you had some older things, you know, in 1983 and 1984, I believe it was, Suzuki's GS 1100 was the fastest production motorcycle in the world. And then Suzuki was kind of just second best at everything for about 20 years. And then in 1999, they unveiled the Hayabusa to the world. And the Hayabusa is still made. It is still revered as one of the most brutal, fast, king of the drag strip motorcycles ever. Outside of that, I've always liked the M109R cruisers. Man, that's just a boss of a V-twin cycle. More reliable than any of your Harley or Indian contenders. DRZ 400, gosh, is revered as one of the best dual sports, the king of dual sport, but very, very good. Suzuki, awesome motorcycle manufacturer. Now, slot number 3, we'll call this bronze because we got to the top 3, so getting the bronze medal of all these motorcycle brands is Kawasaki. Team green, baby. Now Kawasaki, what I'll say is that Kawasaki, ever since I was a child, Kawasaki has always been my favorite brand. Now as a 9-year-old boy, why was Kawasaki my favorite? I liked the name and I liked green. That's it. No other reasons. There has never been any other reasons. They've always been my favorite. I don't currently have any Kawasaki's at the moment. Now, Kawasaki can be traced back to 1878. They officially got patented and licensed as a company in 1896, and Kawasaki, similar to Suzuki, did not start making motorcycles until 1962. Now, Kawasaki, if you've ever looked into the different things that Kawasaki has done, Kawasaki has a history in locomotives, in aviation. You'll find lawnmowers, brands that religiously use Kawasaki motors in all of their stuff. So Kawasaki is one of those diversified, well-rounded companies known for exceptional quality, reliability. Meaning Kawasaki has made some of the greatest cycles the world has ever seen. They've been just as diversified as Suzuki in that they've had the off-road, the cruisers, the fast stuff, the little stuff, big stuff. Kawasaki is always trying new stuff. They are always still rolling out new models. You know, Kawasaki is not a company that is stagnant. They are trying to be the best. They have always tried to be the best, and debatably, some of their cycles are the best. Now, recently, the Ninja ZX6R has gotten a massive recall. Every single one ever made, 24, 25, is being recalled for major engine repairs. Maybe some people are turning their back on Kawasaki, but you shouldn't. They hold the number 3 slot. They've always been in the top 3, and I suspect in years to come, you could see Kawasaki occupy the number 1 slot. They've got the cards in their hand, the potential is there. And now the number 2 slot in second place, getting the silver medal in the Motorcycle Olympics, Yamaha, the Blue Devils, the Yammer Hammers. So Yamaha, fantastic motorcycle brand. Depending on what you look at, Yamaha does occupy the number 1 slot in some different rating systems, but with the way I did it, looking at a bunch of things and collectively coming to a solution, I put Yamaha at number 2 for us. But Yamaha, totally awesome. Yamaha has made some of the most reliable motorcycles the world has ever seen. Some of the modern day Yamahas, I have to say, they're the best looking motorcycles in the world. I mean, the whole R series, the R3, 7, 9, 1. I've always liked their dirt bikes, their scooters. When Yamaha made the V-Star line of motorcycles, that is the easiest, most reliable, carefree cruiser you could possibly buy. You know, Yamaha had the V-Max, the V4, just muscle cruiser that took the world by surprise. Then the second generation VMAX was just insane with like 200 some horsepower. Yamaha is just great. If you buy a Yamaha, you can have peace of mind. You know that if you see that blue color or that tuning fork logo, let me just tell you this about Yamaha. So Yamaha's logo, if you've ever looked at it, it's 3 tuning forks, and that's because of Yamaha's extensive history with musical instruments. Just think about it. Yamaha, I mean, you could buy a piano, a saxophone, a guitar, a drum set, a jet ski, an electric bicycle, a motorcycle, a UTV, and debatably, that would be the best motorcycle, the best jet ski, the best musical instrument you could buy. So everything Yamaha puts their hands on is pure gold. Very, very, very good brand. And with the number 1 spot, the top slot, the gold medal of motorcycle reliability, quality, consistency goes to none other than Honda motorcycles. Yup, Honda cycles. They're the best. They are the best. They've always been the best. I mean, and no one disputes it. The world is in unanimous agreement that if you see the word Honda and you see that little wing logo on a motorcycle, it's the best motorcycle you can buy. You know, you can like another motorcycle brand, but if you own a lot of motorcycles, if you ride a lot of different brands, if you wrench on a lot of different brands, you're just gonna find out firsthand with your own experience that Honda is that best made cycle. They make the best overall total put together package. So, and that's what you have to understand. It's the best overall package. Even though, say, a Kawasaki might put down more horsepower, say the Yamaha looks better, it's just a flashier cycle. The Suzuki may be cheaper, but the Honda is the best overall package, the best overall motorcycle to get. And you can get nitty gritty comparing certain models to other brands and stuff, but collectively, overall, Honda's the best. And that's been my experience as well. I mean, 100% totally, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like I said, Kawasaki is my favorite brand. They've always been my favorite brand, but look at our cycles right here. There's 4 cycles, 3 of them are Hondas. And why is that? They run the best, they give me the least amount of problems, parts are the most available. Always my Hondas have been the most carefree, easiest motorcycle to own. And I have never had a Honda motorcycle that gave me random problems, experienced quirky things. I mean, never. I have never had a problem, catastrophic failure, nothing like that with any Honda. Well, I better give you some details then about Honda as a company. So Honda started making motorcycles in 1946. By 1959, Honda was the largest manufacturers of motorcycles in the entire world. And ever since 1959, Honda has never given up that crown. They have never let another motorcycle manufacturer hold that title. And why is that? Because they make the best motorcycle. What history shows and what time will tell us is that the best made motorcycle is what makes the most successful motorcycle brand. It is not the most expensive. It is not the most exotic. It is not the fastest. It's not the cheapest. What people want, clearly, and what they are spending their money on is the most reliable, best made machine they can find, which has been Honda's, unanimously, worldwide, globally. So that is it. Those are the results. Those are our findings. All of that research, every answer that we came to, I mean, to the best of my ability, those are facts, and that is absolute truth when it comes to quality and reliability ratings. Now, clearly, everybody's not gonna always follow reliability ratings, consumer reports. Obviously, there's a Ducati in my mix that's towards the bottom of the list, as all my Hondas are at the top. So why did I buy that, knowing that it's probably not gonna be as reliable as our Hondas? Because it was unique and different and my eyes liked to look at it. Yep, that's why I got it. So not that everybody is gonna only buy Hondas or only buy Japanese cycles, but it's good to know these statistics and those ratings of all these different brands. That's really helpful, and I feel like all of us have to share our experience when we love a motorcycle. Share that experience, let the world know about it. When you have a bad experience with a motorcycle, with a model, share that experience, let us know. That exchange of knowledge helps all of us become the most informed, smart buyer we can be. So comment with any questions you guys may have, and everybody share your own experience in the comments with what it's been of the different motorcycle brands that you've owned. Otherwise, like the video if this helped you out. Subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time.